Okay. Yeah, tell me your weekly breakthrough.
So no, I wouldn't really call it a breakthrough. It's more of a like self reflection.
Yeah.
And so what happened, was like I read that post of yours, and the first thing is uh, there is this feeling of anger.
Mhm.
It says like to be really honest, like why does this person need to uh, put out what we discussed out there and rant over there by calling out the name? All right. And I am thinking, uh, God, this is not so right. And then I'm writing that response to it, and I'm checking in with myself that this anger is there. And I'm also asking, why do I feel the anger? I mean, what is wrong? What's wrong? There is a discussion which happened, and you felt like putting it out there, perfectly fine. And I realized there are two parts to it. One is the emotion that is triggered, and the other part is the fact of the matter. Okay. So the emotion got triggered because, let's come to the facts first. The facts of the matter is whatever you said over there was something that I already resonate with. All right. So you say that, the science is so and so, so and so, so, and I gave out those two, three things. I said, yeah, that's perfectly fine. I mean, where is the controversy here? Where is the conflict? There's no conflict. And I'm thinking, why the hell am I getting triggered still? All right. And I know it's a Shah because I've uh, seen this, and I've seen people debating, and I've seen how when you debate, like yesterday I told you, uh, I messaged you about, there are three kinds of debates that are there. This is uh, this is that particular monk he is covering in the discourse,
Mhm.
which like I heard that, and then at that moment I had to message you, this is what is happening. So the three kinds of debates are: one is called Vad in Hindi or in Sanskrit, which
Mhm.
is just like two people walking the same direction. So they are on the similar lines. So it's something like what would happen uh, between a teacher and the student. So the teacher is guiding the student into that direction, or two colleagues who are working on the similar, uh, like let's say research kind of a thing, wherein both are aligned to the similar direction. That is Vad. So no conflict. The second is Vivad. That is akin to really the debate. So now truth doesn't matter. What I say matters. So there are two people. Whatever this person has said and whatever this person has said, that is what is of importance. And they are trying to prove their side. Lawyers, like most of us do that, irrespective of whatever has been said. Now, since once I have said it, or I have purchased this car, that car is the best car. And lawyers are like trained to do this.
Mhm.
And the third one is very interesting. wherein I don't have any like concept or point of view, but whatever you say, I'll cut it down.
You cut it down, or
Yeah. So I, I'm not I'm not posing a concept of whatsoever kind, but whatever concept you bring forward, I will oppose it. So if you say this is like day, I would prove that no, it is not day. And if you say okay, it's night, I would say no, this is not night. All right. And so the monk explained how actually on the face, on the surface, this last one uh, sounds like ridiculous, but actually, this is a truly good way of uh, like getting into the depths. So that is what. So now this is where I was, and I said, okay, facts are one thing. The facts state uh, that no matter what, and this is what I had come to a conclusion that not one person knows the entire thing, let alone the any amount of research. Okay. You will see one aspect or maybe a few aspects of uh, uh, whatever the fact is. Like there is a stoic quote from Marcus Aurelius: anything that is whatever you hear are only opinions.
are only
Opinions.
opinions. Yes, yes,
And
yeah,
whatever you see is only perspective.
yeah, and it's all subjective.
It's all subjective. It all depends on from which person you hear and how you see the thing and all that stuff. And herein comes the ego, because when I say something, my ego gets tied to it.
Yeah,
And so we get into the second kind of debate: truth does not matter.
but I am
I
right.
say, yeah, I am right. That kind of a thing. And even if it is like a little bit of off from whatever you've said or I have said, now depending on how self-aware I may be or whatever might be my personality, I could be that much staunchly triggered or acceptable to the like mild alterations.
Mm.
And that is wherein the emotion part comes in. And all this while I was thinking, uh, have you spoken a little too early without seeing this entire thing that I had to present? Like rather than, because what I shared was like a dash or maybe one part of
Maybe.
the entire thing that I know, and I this is what I'm thinking, and this woman just takes that much and just runs with it, and then I'm thinking,
I do.
oh wait, what are you doing? Just take a break. What are you doing right now? How do you know that this is exactly what she thought? How do you know what this is exactly like? I said, oh God.
Yeah.
and and so like last couple of days I was just uh, going through, you know, going back and forth on all these things, and it was really good trigger because I had not been triggered for a few days, and so when at least I see that if I'm not being triggered, so I get into this false sense of well-being, maybe, you know, that I've got it all under control. And
Well,
then,
there's no triggers. It's easy to have control, right?
yeah, so now the thing comes up, oh no, you got to do some more work, man. This reminds me of, uh, once again, that guy, Osho,
Hmm.
who said something, all these guys who go to the Himalaya for meditations. And I said, what's the use of going over there and like meditation and now I'm self-discipline and I've got all my senses under control and everything. And 10 years they have been there, and the moment they come in contact with another person, it's still as angry as they were. All that thing is totally useless. So if you are truly meditative, if you are truly in control of your senses and your emotions and feelings and everything that you think meditation is supposed to be bringing forward, then you be in the world. And while being in the world, if you can still be there, because bahar like you go outside over there, where there's nobody to like trigger you, so that is it.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. It was very interesting when you sent me that message yesterday with starting. I couldn't really read the whole thing. I just like opened your message and I saw. I really have to tell you, I really got triggered from that post that you did. That's like trigger and post, and you did was like the thing that catched my eye, and like there's like an instant, but it's very nice to acknowledge that it was literally only like maximum a couple seconds, if not even less. Like it was like an
Uh-huh.
instant, but there was like this instant fear of like, oh my gosh, no, like now I've managed again to trigger someone in a way that they're gonna reject me and stuff. Like, so it's an occurring theme for me. Like it's still that there's still like this, yeah, there's like, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? But I was instantly like, I or yeah, I eased back into trust. And like, okay, I haven't read the message. I didn't see the whole thing. What you're telling yourself now is literally just a story. So just like calm down. Everything's it's gonna be fine. Either way, whether you would have decided to reject me for now because of what I did, or in the best case that you come forth with some positive triggerment, right? And some insight on your side. And then once I was able to read the whole message, I was like, I was confirmed with the positive way of the trigger, right? In that sense, even though it wasn't positive as I read at the beginning,
Yeah.
which, yeah, again, I feel like I want to say I'm sorry, but I'm not. And I'm also very grateful that you were able to subtract the matter of it and not make it about me, but make it about yourself in that moment to like see, okay, what can I take from this, like, yeah, from this situation, right? And I don't even remember exactly what I wrote, but it was just like was it the research, the
Yeah,
research?
it was about uh, see, I brought out the fact or the theory about like core emotions.
Emotions,
uh,
exactly.
yeah, so there is one psychologist who's come up with this therapy protocol, and then earlier there is another person who's talking about how they are like hardwired on the face, how they are expressed on the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you quoted that particular study by this lady, which refutes the hardwiring part of it.
A little bit. Yep.
And then after that rant, because you write that
I
rant
didn't
over
know
there,
it went right.
and then you say the core message is they are not hardwired. And here is another thing that's another was another trick. I said, like, you are saying that like scientific studies are just like that, you know. Uh, Somebody says something and it becomes a hard fact. Yet you're quoting another scientific study.
And make it a hard fact. I didn't try to make it a hard fact, just like an opposing new fact, right? But yeah, I see
Yeah.
where the
And so this is what, and but then I was again thinking the same way. Like, I'm accusing of this person of thinking in a particular way, and yet I'm not doing anything different.
mm, yeah,
So,
yeah. And then on my end too, right?
and and as going by that message today, you see how the triggers could like go into like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So I think this goes to this is such a good example for both of us, uh, because like while it did in the first instance did trigger you, but you took time to actually see through the fog and reach the state that we can still be talking, like smiling and all that. So I think we're really good.
I'm also happy about this. So thank
Yeah.
you thank you very much. And yeah, for me, like I'm very, very spontaneous in that moment. And I react to like spontaneous insights. And sometimes there's just things that I like to share. And it's not like it's usually never anymore to like bash on someone. And it was definitely not to bash on you whatsoever. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I like that is
And
what was like last 3 days. Yeah.
yeah, but just yeah, to open conversation and to bring awareness to certain things that I came to realize, and I just feel like I want to share, especially in a group like this. um I want to give other people also the opportunity and the chance to start looking at things in a different way, right? And not take any like every hard fact that's just been taught as a hard fact, but in fact actually start questioning it. And but with the knowing at the end of the day that there is no right or wrong, there is no there is no hard facts in that sense, right? Like
Yeah.
it's always about taking the newest, or taking whatever you feel is right now, to see if this can improve your situation, but then continue looking for the other insights and for other sciences, for other theories, to see if that's going to be the good thing for the next step. Because I feel sometimes we can also get stuck on something. And I see it with many tools, also with I mean, I see it so often, and also I've experienced it myself. The tool with the positive affirmation story, when you're like
Mhm.
in depression and anxiety, it's not the thing that's going to get you out there, even though it works for others.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
not going to
That's
be
another
the thing
point. Yeah,
that's going to be the thing that gets you out, even though you have 10, 20, 100 people around you that say yes, it works, because for them it did, because they were not in that state of fear and depression and anxiety in their
yeah,
system, right? So if I would then just like keep believing, it's like I must believe that this is the way to go. So I keep persisting to do my positive affirmations and drill it in, even though I notice my depression gets even worse, my anxiety gets worse, my social life gets worse, and everything just gets worse. But I'm like,
yeah,
keep doing it anyway. What's the good for it, right? So better to go and seek other ways and find bridges and detours or whatever that lead me to that same outcome eventually. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm very
That's
happy.
so. Sorry, I cut you off. I didn't hear what you just said. Like last two
I'm
seconds.
very happy to have like a good experience on a triggering event. So
Yeah,
that means it's a way forward also for me, in the way, and maybe also the people that I invite in my life that are actually able to receive my triggers in a positive way, right?
yeah. So one thing comes to mind. You uh, about taking saying something and understanding that you may not be knowing the entire truth. There's a very old, I think it's a Buddhist story about uh, five blind men and the elephant.
I don't know that one, I think.
Okay, so this is a parable which is uh, an elephant comes to a village, and there are these five blind men who decide to go and like experience what is the elephant like, because people are really talking about there's a huge animal that has come to the village. So they go. So there is now these are blind; they can't see the thing. So the only way they can perceive the elephant is by touching. So there's this one guy who touches the leg of the elephant, and he has the perception that an elephant is like a pillar. There's another one which touches the trunk,
Hmm.
and he has the perception it's like a thick rope. There's another one who catches the tail, and he thinks that an elephant is nothing but like a like a broom or a brush. There's another guy who touches the ear, and he says the elephant is uh, like a fan. There's one who's on top of it, so he thinks it's a huge flat thing.
Hmm.
And when they get together, oh, did you feel the elephant? Did you perceive the elephant? Ah, it's like a pillar. One guy is saying, no, it's like a fan. So, and they're all fighting amongst themselves, not realizing they are all talking about the same elephant, but they have just seen it like from different uh, viewpoints, let's
Hmm.
say, which is so ironical to say for blind men. But yeah, and that is exactly what happens. This is something that I see. Uh, Now, I don't claim to have read scientific papers per se, but what I can make out from the books that simplify all those things, that many times what happens is the same thing. I need to make my contribution known in the field. And so One is I could really come up with something original, and I try to do that. But after 10 years, 15 years, or whatever time of putting my heart and soul into that research, I realized, well, it is not working. So what I do is probably taint an existing one, like go against something or invent something. All right. So, and that ego thing happens so many times uh, at different levels everywhere. I mean, even at the workplaces, within the family,
Hmm.
it
Mhm.
it is so based on the ego that gets like, here I am. So yeah, to be able to catch that ego is such a difficult thing.
Mhm.
If only we can reach, I think that would be the stage of enlightenment when you reach the place wherein the ego drops, the self drops. That would be such a blissful place.
But do you think it's
Mhm.
manageable or you think it's impossible?
I think it is manageable. I think it is possible. Uh, and I, mm, I would borrow it from once again from Osho that actually all the enlightened beings that have been there and are there are essentially the people for whom the sense of self has dropped. That is possibly the definition of God, because it seems that every enlightened being, whether it is, uh, you know, uh, what is that guy, Lao Tse in China, or Krishna, Buddha, and Mahavira here in India, or is it the Christ, or it is Muhammad, or it is Zarathustra, or all these like great beings, or those Sufi saints, or all these people. It finally comes down to that really their own sense of ego has like gone from the root,
Yeah.
and how uh, that person has explained this entire concept, it makes sense to me. Like right now I can't say that to be true or not, but how he explains it makes sense.
With the elephant or the one with the three stages? What are you
No,
referring?
the I'm referring to dropping of self
Yeah. Okay.
as the realization, as being enlightened, as being, because see, all my issues are born out of uh, like Buddha says, attachment. Okay, that is one way of saying so. I see as ego, because attachment comes because the ego is there. If
I
I didn't
agree.
have the ego, if I didn't have the word I, uh, who would feel the attachment? And once you reach there, and since the I is not there, you'll not have, makes sense. Your emotions should drop. Whatever feelings. So there's another thing. This is the Advait philosophy, which says you want to get to a place where there is no sorrow or suffering, and there is no happiness either.
Mhm.
That is the stage of bliss, Satchit Anand, that is called.
Yeah, the bliss
So
state,
that,
right? Just
yeah, yeah,
it just
you would,
is. It just
yeah,
is.
it just is.
And it's
So
not, you don't need to label it anymore happy or good or bad or sad or sorrow
exactly,
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. But then why does the ego not want to get there? Because it's boring, right? Like for it gets it
uh,
like there's maybe that fear of like, well, there's this flattening, this flat room. There's no more life happening, so to speak, of like the ups and downs and ups and downs. And I think that's often gets a little bit missed in these communities of people trying to heal and get enlightened and transform their way of being into always happy. um and they get caught up in that chase for happiness, and every time you feel a moment of sorrow again, like let's say, you've been in a good upward motion for some months, maybe even for years, and life has been good and all the opportunities came to you, and like all the opportunities were good opportunities, nobody leaves you, everybody's coming, everybody's loving you. And then one day happens, something happens, and all of a sudden you feel sorrow again, and you're like you forget about this, like all this time before that life was good, and now you're boom back in that sorrow, and like, why is life so shit, why does this happen to me? um and you blame life for
yeah,
that feeling, right? Because we so much fight against these sorrow and pain and whatnot, and we forget the power and the possibility to also just enjoy these moments of sorrow, or maybe not, maybe enjoying is the wrong word, but just accepting it for what it is, also as something that shall pass too, just like happiness also will pass, because nothing can stay up forever, but also nothing
yeah,
can stay down forever. It's also always is oscillating. But what I think is a good thing to try to practice and train is to have a healthy rebounds from both, right? To always stay around this blissful like state, because even
yeah,
a sorrow moment can be a blissful moment if you choose to make it such, right? Because even sorrow can be a beautiful feeling, grief can be, it's like, it can be a beautiful feeling because it means that there's love, there's an immense
yeah,
love for something, right? But we're just somewhat trained that these are negative feelings and you should get out of them as soon as possible, and trying to fight it and ignore it and get distracted so that you don't feel it anymore. And yeah, and I think that's just a little bit what I sometimes I wonder, and I've been in these places, and I live it. I literally live it, right? Like I have these highs and I feel like, oh my gosh, life is so amazing, and then poof, within the
yeah,
same day, within the same minute, sometimes it just happens, like my mood just flips, my energy flips, and I'm dropping.
hmm,
And I by now I can watch myself get into the story, like, oh fuck, yeah, okay, I guess I'm not made for a happy life. I guess I'm here to suffer. I'm just like, and
Yeah.
the more I become aware, like the more often I become aware of these moments, the easier it gets for me nowadays to just ease into that low, and like not make it so personal. And maybe find other reasons why this energy low is maybe happening now. Maybe because I've just been going for like the last 6 days, whatever not. Maybe I've been socializing a lot. So that's like it's just my body telling me, like, hey, dude, I need some rest. Maybe I haven't been eating well. Maybe I'm on my period. Like there's so many reasons in that moment for my energy to drop. Maybe there's something in the air. Maybe I met a person that I took off, like that I took some energy from, well, some unpleasant
Or
energy.
somebody took it away.
Huh?
Or somebody took it away.
or they took it away, right? So exactly. So I become more and more aware of this, and I'm not making it so much about myself anymore. Trying to not get into that downward story in myself. And I give myself the rest. I take myself a little bit out. I put work aside. Taking care of myself, my soul, try to nurture my body with some good food if I haven't been doing that for a while. And then I know that this too shall pass and it will be gone soon, So it's like, it's these ups and downs, and all about the acceptance of the thing as it is for now. And that doesn't mean I have to accept it in a sense that I'm just low now, so I'm just gonna stay low now. It's like, no, I'm low now, but I know that maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, I'm gonna be high again. Maybe I'm gonna be middle way. But like, it's like the heartbeat, right? The heartbeat is always going up, and it's always going up. It's always going up. And every time it comes up, it goes down again. And and now I know also, I'm also not trying to attach too much to the good moments, because I know it can be gone in an instant. But so I'm not clinging on to it. I just enjoy it and treasure it as it lasts. And then when it's gone for a moment, I acknowledge that. It's like, okay, here we go. Let's see, like, what can I learn down here? What can I feel down here? And when will the when will the roller coaster go back up again, right? Because it's not always in our control, I believe. We're not, I don't believe that we're like full creators of this experience, right? We're co-creators, because there's still that another driving force that guides us through life, or another, maybe it's us, but like, I don't know. I feel there's sometimes only that much control that I can really fully take, and the rest I just have to accept for now as it is, and go with it. Like, yeah, like riding a roller coaster. I can control how I feel on that roller coaster, maybe, if I train it, right? But I cannot choose like when it goes down and it goes up. But when I understand the idea of the roller coaster, I know that if I get on the roller coaster, I'm ready. I'm ready for the up, even though sometimes the up is really boring, right? And then I'm also ready for the beautiful view and enjoy it for however long they suspend me, because I don't know when it's going to go down. So I'm just going to enjoy it up there as long as I can, until shit gets crazy and like we drop. And then now I have a choice. I can either freak out, or I can like throw my arms up in the air and go, here we go. Let's do this.
Flying.
Let's do this, right? And we go down and down and down as long as we go, and we go round and around and whatever. And I'm just going to go with it until the moment where it flattens out a little bit. And I get a moment to rest. I'm like, well, that sucked, but It didn't. It was actually really amazing, right? And then it goes up again, and here we go again. So I really like this analogy with the roller coaster because it's really in the downward movement, like in that free fall, that life actually like that it actually gets exhilarating and like
Yeah,
that's when you feel alive, no? But it's a
true.
point of perspective. Like other people, someone who is forced onto the roller coaster by their friend and they're terrified of that roller coaster, they're not going to have a good time.
I am terrified of roller coasters.
I don't like roller coasters either, but I like them in my head. There I have my control over it, right? I haven't been on one
So
in good 20 years, probably. I don't know.
and that is such a thing that like people around me laugh at me and say, "You really are a like a Air Force pilot? You can't get on the roller."
Why? Because you
Yeah,
like the downward?
yeah. I said because when I am so in that initial training that is there, so you go to about 26,000 feet, and there's a maneuver called spin, so wherein the aircraft just drops, uh, just goes like in a uncontrolled sort of a spiral down,
Mhm.
just out of control.
You just literally
And
drop.
yeah, it's a drop,
Yeah.
and then you got to recover out of it. And I love that. So I said I have the controls.
Yeah,
I
eventually.
don't know what the controls in the roller coaster.
There you have yeah, you have the control over it.
So that way, and so that's a good analogy. Actually, that is how the life happens, and uh, how the neurobiology uh, is designed. You feel we know of this hormone called dopamine. Nowadays, it has become really popular. So dopamine is something which is known popularly known as addictive. Like
Hmm.
it is associated with addiction. Actually, dopamine is motivation.
Yeah.
So uh, dopamine is released when you are going in pursuit of something, and the moment your pursuit is complete, that is, you reach that point, it stops.
There's a peak and then there's a huge drop.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now, and so neurobiologically, the body cannot keep producing dopamine like as an endless supply. And so if you're going up, like on a happy trip, at some point you're going to go and hit the top of that roller coaster.
It has to recover somehow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because unless it goes down again, you cannot really get the like upward feeling once again.
Yeah.
It's not like a rocket that goes out into the universe and just keeps going.
Yeah. But even that one comes down at one point, no?
Uh, yeah, like Mr. Musk has commercialized those coming back, but it has taken so much of time and effort for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, uh, and so the thing about the bliss part of it, wherein you are what is that word? Equanimous? Like you
Equanimous?
are equally,
Equanimous, I think. I
yeah,
think. Equanimous.
yeah. So, so
But
that,
don't take my word for it. I'm no English
yeah, so
native.
we get that, and I'm sure people who could be listening would understand what we mean. So, that you're equanimous to happiness as well as sadness. That does not mean that you don't feel it.
Mhm. But you don't make it mean anything more than just it being a feeling and it just being an experience. And it might be
Exactly.
an indicator on, like, how aligned you are with your purpose and with the things that you desire. But even if you are like super aligned with your life's purpose, with your core desire, with your heart's mission, even then there will be these drops and these lows. They have to come. you know
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So how this is explained is like you as an observer, like the self is supposed to drop, but it's like you go into observer mode and you say, okay, there is happiness and I'm observing it. This is a moment of sorrow. I'm observing it.
Mm,
This, to the extent, what it takes it, that even if you have like grievous physical hurt, okay, like a broken arm or something, you still go to that. Okay, the body is feeling uh, excruciating pain, and here I am observing that pain. So then, what the meditation or the training goes in the line of really observing. Like you get to a place wherein you don't say I'm hurt. Okay. So it doesn't get personified that
mhm.
you are hurt. You say there is pain and I am observing it. So that distance is created over there. And that is where you want to reach that, like from the all these mystical traditions around the world. That is where they want to take you to reach that point where the blissful state, wherein you are neither happy, neither sad, because you are just observing whatever is happening.
Yeah,
So in a way, you're still feeling, but you're not attached to this
yeah. You're not
and
yeah,
all that.
exactly. You're not making it mean that much. And it's interesting, like now that you say that you're talking about this, it like really made me remember the moment of my accident as well, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
absolutely.
that moment when I crashed from that height right onto my ass, like hearing literally like what it felt like it was my whole spine, but at least like my entire lower back just like smashing into pieces. And I was laying there, and obviously there was a moment of short panic at first, maybe, but nothing crazy. Like I was so quickly in like such
Mhm.
a deep present state that I felt like I knew that something was really really wrong,
Uh-huh.
and I knew what was on the stake. I knew what that means when your back is injured, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I knew about the possibility maybe I might never walk again, right? But for some reason my brain didn't go into any of these avenues of like, fuck, what have I done, or fuck,
Mhm.
what's my future gonna look like. I was there, and I was lucky that my friend just passed by me and I was able to raise my arm and make him understand that I need some assistance. I was very lucky that I could still speak and talk. Um, very very grateful I was speaking that language because it was in France, right? So
Uh-huh.
I imagine like how much more of a trust it would have been if I wouldn't even speak the language of these people, right?
Oh,
So Yeah, but even though I could speak and I could understand, there was only that, like, I couldn't do anything. I didn't know what
Hmm.
was wrong with me, and I didn't know how bad it was. So there was just the option of surrendering for me and trusting that whatever is going to come out from this is going to be okay.
Hmm.
Like, whether I'm going to be walking again, whether I'm not going to be walking again, like, no matter. But for now, it's just like, I didn't even think of that. It's just now. And it's just me breathing, it's me trusting, and it's me surrendering to whatever. I mean, it's not something that I did cognitively, right? I didn't think like, oh, right. Okay, so now I'm potentially broke my back. I had a really bad injury. Let me just work my mindfulness. Let me just be very present for now and not worry about
Yeah.
it. But I
If only it was that easy or possible even.
but I did what I can say and what I believe helped me get to that natural state of being in that terrible moment is that I've practiced it in so many different ways, in so many different visualizations beforehand. Like
Yeah.
I do these visualizations sometimes where I imagine the worst case scenario. During Corona, I've made it a habit and a practice to basically practice dying every night before I go to sleep. Meaning
Okay.
I would go to sleep with the idea that potentially tomorrow I won't wake up. And so
Okay.
how would I like to fall asleep now if I knew I wouldn't wake up tomorrow? I want to make sure that I'm content and happy about whatever I did today. I want to make sure that I say thanks for all the encounters, for all the things that I experienced today. I want to say thanks for my body that I was having up to this point, giving me all of
Hmm.
these experiences and stuff like that. So basically, trying to make a clean slate, a white sheet when I fall asleep or before I fall asleep, going to sleep with a good feeling, with a content feeling, so that if I would transition in a positive vibration kind of thing. And then when I woke up in the morning, and that was really like, yeah, I think that was a practice that helped me get out of depression during the pandemic as well. It gave me a reason to wake up again, like joy of waking up, right? And
Yeah.
so I've done that with other things as well, with yeah, losing health. What would life feel look like if I would all of a sudden get obese, if I would like get injured, if I would get cancer, whatever not. So I'm trying to imagine these things and how I would like to experience it, you know,
Hmm.
because I wouldn't want to experience it in suffering. Like maybe
Yeah.
yes, the physical body would be suffering, but I would want to have a healthy state of mind and heart as well during that time. And so I practice that. And I guess that helps now that I have such a case in my in my life that I'm like, yeah.
I resonate with that. I mean, this would be by like yet another Air Force
Analogy.
analogy here. But like for uh, for some people, that kind of a visualization might come in as like you don't want to go there. Like
Mm,
for most people, it would be why you want to visualize the positive kind of things. You don't want to visualize dying, losing health. But as you were explaining this, and since you've already lived that experience, which helped you, and this is something that we do uh, in the Air Force, like the first thing in the morning. I used to joke that we guys are like exactly opposite of what normal people are. Like when you get up in the morning and you say, yeah. So when you get up in the morning, the normal people would say, "Oh God, uh, let the day be as wonderful as it could be," or the version thereof, positive visualization. And here we go in the morning. We bring up a crew up on the stage in front of the entire gathering that is there of the air that is there, and we say, okay, so you are airborne for such and such mission, and there's that, and uh, you have an engine failure, or you have a fire breaking out.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
your engine fails, or you
No.
have uh, like you get attacked in this particular thing. What is it that you're going to do?
Okay. You're practicing a worst case scenario in that moment, right?
Yeah, so every day you invent something. Okay, this is the scenario, and this is something that goes down. And what do you do? And that kind of practice actually has us, revise those drills like in
For the
real
worst
time.
scenario, so that when it actually happens, you actually have a plan. You
Yeah,
have a
so
plan and
now
you
you
know
don't.
how it's going to come out. And so I think the right time. Like, we need both, right? Like, you also need
Yeah,
that positive attitude, because if you're gonna, like, if you're thinking, I suppose, if you're like doing the job that you're doing, and you get up in the morning and you think, oh, I'm probably not going to survive today, so what's the point of it
mm,
anyway, kind of thing, then you're not gonna get anywhere, or most likely gonna get killed, right? Because you don't have that drive. So on one hand, you want to have that positive attitude towards life, and the positive idea of, that you're gonna survive, and you're gonna have a good day or a successful day or whatever that is. But on the other hand, you also want to make sure that you have strategies in place before something really terrible happens, right? And I think that's why so many people are so unhappy, just from suffering a little, like, quote unquote, a little bit, right?
yeah,
We're having, yeah, a stressful job, annoying kids, annoying husband, whatever, like, or maybe like, we're not in one with ourselves, and we make it such a big deal, and we don't want to worry about or think that a loved one would die, for example. Like, why would I imagine that my partner could be dead tomorrow morning? Well, it's like, well, because he could. Like, he
yeah,
literally could. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do when he actually did die? you
yeah,
know? Like, don't you think you would be better prepared for it if you have thought of it before? Don't you think that your life, I'm not saying you're not going to grieve, I'm not saying that something's going to be missing from your life, but you're most likely going to be much more functional and healthy and well in your heart after your partner died or passed away or transitioned than you would if you never practiced it, right?
yeah,
And we forget so much how quickly somebody can be gone. And by us visualizing that fact isn't gonna make them disappear faster than they must, right? Because I believe when our time has come, our time has come. It doesn't matter how healthy you lived, it doesn't matter how toxic you were. That's probably maybe gonna put a little bit of a, but I no, I believe that if it is your time, you're gonna pass on, and it's gonna find a way to get you there. Be that when you walk, like, be that when you fly your airplane and something goes really bad and you crash. Be that because you shower and you stumble and you smack your head on the rubbing at
as simple as that.
whether I just crossed the street, even though I looked 10 times left and right. And in that moment, when I walk, some asshole comes around the corner and shoots into me. Like, anything can happen
True.
at any time, no matter how careful you are, right? And nothing can happen even though you were not careful at all whatsoever. So where's the control there, right? So yeah, anyway, and I think if more people would dare or would acknowledge the fact that sometimes seeing also the most or the worst case scenario would actually bring them more joy in their life, because you would be able to be more present in every moment. If you would think every day that your partner potentially could be gone the next day, like how would you live today? Right?
Yeah.
What would you do? How would you interact with this person? What would you say? And so I think it can have a whole, like a huge potential power on the way that we live. But yeah, I see it's not for everyone, and definitely not for someone like at the very beginning or in a, I don't even want to say in a very depressed mode, but I guess that's a tricky one with psychological issues. But for me, yeah, it was in a moment of deep depression when I started doing these visualizations of just like, let's just wrap this up for today and see what's going to be tomorrow, if there's going to be tomorrow. And Corona gave me a good opportunity because we literally, right, like death was so present.
Yeah.
And that should, but that's what like freaks me out. That makes me like, blows my mind how people even in that time didn't really see the full potential and power of having death so close and so daily. We were still afraid, or like everybody's afraid, and everybody's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna, close up, and just worry," rather than easing into experience and actually seeing that life threat as a like, okay, let's live at least the last couple of days or month or whatnot, how much we have, right? Yeah. Right. So what? Yeah, it's again the mindset, like the lens you choose to take. You can choose the lens of fear, or you can choose the lens of love. And so what's gonna support you more in your experience? And I mean, death is gonna come no matter what. Well, what do you make from the time that you have here? Right? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy, Fabian. You've packed so many things in this last part of the conversation, and I think uh, the issue of death is something that almost all established religions talk about, and they're always trying to bring your attention to this particular thing, and yet,
To death, or
yeah, to death in different forms. uh, Somewhere it is being utilized as form of punishment,
Mhm,
or the punishment that could follow that
mhm.
event. Somewhere it is being a point of transition beyond which it is all good, right? Whichever way it is, but they are all trying to like put in that this is an absolute transition point, and you better get your act in order
Before you get there.
before you get there, because
Yeah.
everybody knows that nobody knows what happens thereafter.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet somehow they manage to use it for like in Christianity, I find it they use it to create that sense of control and to put certain rules that are, and then that are very not natural, right? Like the rules for like not being sexually active, that sex is the root of all evil kind of story, which is like just so the opposite of what is, like, it's the complete opposite of what's true. Because what is sexuality? Sexuality is the root of all creation and not the root of all evil. And so, but they turn it around, right? And so they put you into a feeling of like whatever you do, basically, you're gonna feel ashamed, you're gonna feel guilty. Like they say, like, don't lie, but don't lie. It's such a big thing. Like, what is a lie? When is something a lie and when is it just a story? When is it, like, obviously it's
I
nuanced, and we all lie all the time. Like, there is no not lying.
when people say don't lie, you got to go somewhere or something?
No, but my battery is running out.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah. So when we hear somebody say don't lie or be honest, there is a T and C apply. Okay.
There is that.
Like terms and conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a little fine print, which is essentially don't lie to me. Stay honest with me. You can lie about everybody else. You can lie to anybody else, but don't lie to me. That's exactly what the priests want, irrespective of whatever religion or sect,
Mm.
whether it is Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, anything. Anybody who's saying ancestral, you should not lie and always speak the truth to me. The
Mm.
parents tell their kids should never tell a lie to me, because they would lie and they would many times have the kids lie to other people.
Yeah, there is. Oh, I don't know where I heard that, but that just brings up a situation I was explaining in that sense, like how how twisted our way of parenting is so often, and how we're teaching children, right? And so there's this I don't know, this scene, like, you have a mother and a son at home, and somehow the mother is punishing the kid, or telling the kid off because he was like telling some lies or whatever. And the mother tells him, like, you cannot lie, like, you have to tell the truth, right? And then suddenly the doorbell rings. The doorbell rings, and the mother says to the son, like, go and open up. And the son goes and opens up, and there's someone who wants to talk to the mother. And so the son comes back and says, Mom, there's like someone on the door. And the mother says, like, yeah, I can't see this person right now. Tell them I'm not here.
Yeah.
And that's so often like the thing that parents do, like or not just parents, but we say one thing because it's relevant for one situation, but then in another situation we do the complete opposite. And when we're being so forceful in teaching lessons just because, like, you ought not to lie because a good Christian doesn't lie, or a good human doesn't
Yeah.
lie, right?
Yeah.
And you cannot really explain that to the kid why it would be helpful maybe to not lie, or then choose your lies wisely. But then go on, right? Like, right in the same instant you go on as the one who just taught that principle, that lesson to like do exactly the opposite again. And so
Yeah.
the kid, or the kid is confused. And so what, like, the kid learns, so okay, there's moments where lying is okay, there's moments where lying is not okay. I will just have to figure out when those moments are
Yeah.
and figure it out, right? And I mean, what is more harmful to someone when, if they want to meet up and you just tell them, it's like, I really don't feel like seeing you right now, because it's just a mood that you're in. That doesn't mean you don't like the person, but you just don't feel like seeing them right now. Like, would it be very beneficial for the friendship to like tell them that, or to just say, hey, I really don't have time today, right? In that sense, or just saying, it's like, I'm not in the mood, but not because of you. Because I'm gonna
Yeah.
still see another friend. I'm in the mood for socializing, just not with you, So yeah, that's like, and then it comes to the point where we started the conversation, right, with the elephant. Like,
Yeah.
okay, something that's true for me might be a lie for someone else.
Yeah. In fact, there is one. Let me find. It brings to mind a very nice meme I had come across. Which was just so on point about the perspective, truth. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, with the triangle and the squares and is it that?
Yeah, something on that, in that line. Where did it go? I'll find it. Have you seen, like,
Yes, exactly. Oh, there's
yeah,
there's even another one where they managed to make a triangle also from the.
yeah. So I got them all. So then there's this
Oh,
one.
here we go. Yeah, that
All
one.
right. And then there's yet another one.
Ooh, obviously, yeah, because there's different angles again. I haven't seen this one yet. Can you send that one to me?
Yeah,
That one is complicated for people to understand, though. I think the other two are a little bit more on point
so
and see.
it is no, it is like step by step. So you
Yeah.
think, okay, hmm, but then you see the next illustration wherein the shape itself is changed a little bit.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Okay. But then this third one, it's like really driving home the point.
It's like, none of you guys is right. There's a gazillion other viewpoints and angles that you can take your picture from and make your shadow, right? So
Yeah.
that's the whole point, right? Like, there is, like, how many billions are we now? Are we 8 billions yet?
I think we we would
Eight,
be pretty close.
roughly 8 billion realities on this planet.
Uh-huh.
There's not just one reality, there's 8 billion realities, because every one of us experiences it a little bit different.
Sagittarius.
And language can help to a certain point to view things in a similar way, or like, yeah, just communicate. But then I often ponder, what would life be without language? Like, language is also such a big hindrance. Like, even though it's been like an immense source of power for us humans to like communicate and to come up with sophisticated concepts and look into the future, and as we talk, we can imagine something in the future that's not even here, and somebody else might understand to a very close point of detail what I am envisioning, even though it's never going to be the same, but they have an idea of what someone else envisions. And And so there's great power in that. And yet, because we have so many stories around certain words and concepts, and we have programmings around that, like, like grief is something bad, or like something negative and painful and whatnot. I mean, that's just one programming that we give, right? Or anger, like what would anger be again if it wouldn't exist, right? Like if we didn't have a word or a concept around for that emotion, like what would it be described as if there wasn't a word like anger, or it's a negative feeling? Like anger is like activation. It's like there's a fire bubbling, there's like life coming up, right? In that sense. So there's like desire for driving, for surviving, for whatever. And so it's actually also a good thing, And so I find that language can also very much limit us in the way that we see the world, because it's just language gives us the reality that the people we learned the language from were living.
Wait. Language gives us the reality
that the people that taught us this language were living.
Were living.
So the reality that our parents, grandparents, ancestors were living, that reality was passed down through language. So we are now through that language, we're living their reality. Even though maybe our reality could look completely different if we just started dissecting a little bit the language and reorganizing the language and put new meanings to certain words and become our own engineers of our own reality. And
I do agree to that part or this concept. In fact, there is a interesting thing about apparently the color blue did not exist. You know of this?
Yeah, Vishen talks about it in the book. It's the Himba tribe also that they studied, I think, in that sense. But tell the story quickly.
It seems I'll have to do a double check on this, but it's like in ancient Greece, they didn't have a word for the color blue. And so what they say is the Aegean shone like Aegean Sea, it shined like wine. So that is how off language could be.
Yeah, and how the fact, like if you have a word for something, you bring it into existence, right? But if you don't have a word for something, it doesn't really exist. And so the study that they done with the Himba tribe, with the blue, yes, there is this, like they couldn't find any word for blue in ancient scriptures, and I think it was the Egyptians that were first able to use the color blue as we know it now, and like we're also around the first ones where the word blue came from. But there's still up today, this Himba tribe, they don't have a word for blue. They literally don't have a word for blue. And so what they've done, but plenty words for green because that's their environment, right? So they
Yeah,
have,
I remember this.
I don't know how
Yeah,
many
go
shades of.
ahead.
So they show the himbas on a screen. They show them a circle with maybe 12, 15, doesn't really matter, squares, 12
Yeah.
squares of green and 1 square blue. Do you have to
Uh-huh.
go somewhere?
Yeah, I just heard a sound, so somebody calling. Just give me half a second.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So they show them on a screen 12 green, like it's the exact same green, I think, on that end, and one that was blue. And so for us,
Hmm.
it's like right away you can spot the blue. Like the blue is different from all of the greens. And and the himbas it took them forever. And more often than not, they were wrong when they made their guesses which one is the blue square. Because they don't have a they
Hmm.
don't have a word for blue. So they couldn't really spot the
Yeah,
blue. They couldn't spot the difference between the blue and the other green ones. When for
correct.
us, it's just such a distinct color difference, right?
True.
And then they showed them, or they show another picture with 12 same colored greens and one green that's just like a teeny tiny nuance different. You
Hmm.
cannot see it. Like
Yeah,
you can guess,
yeah,
right? Again, you can guess. Like there's some like maybe this one's a little bit greener, maybe this one's a little bit brighter. Maybe
yeah.
okay, what's my intuition say? Right? And
Yeah,
then more often
since
than not,
you're asking supposed to be different, so I'll say yeah, they are different.
exactly. So more often than not, Westerners or like us who have the color blue in our language, even though we think we might see it, we are most likely wrong. But the Himba, they took them seconds to
Hmm.
spot the green that is different, even though it's just a tiny little nuance, because they
Yeah.
have different words for these different
Words.
nuances and shades and stuff. So yeah, and so yeah, Vishen uses that example in his book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. And I think it was
Hmm.
one of the biggest triggers for me to like get down that path of like, okay, what is language then really, right? If
Uh-huh.
what we cannot name doesn't exist for us, like how, right? But it's again like how the environment that we're living in also shapes our perception. And so there was another study that they found, and I don't exactly remember what it was. It had to do with the way that we live in houses, and we have corners and roofs and stuff like that, which in nature people don't have or didn't have, right? So the tribes and stuff, they don't have angles like this, and they don't live in spaces like we do. I don't exactly know if that was related to what I'm telling you now, but um,
Hmm.
some studies also show that most of us Westerners are we read from, oh no, it was yes, for how we, present, past, future. If you
Okay.
would have to like sort out pictures from a child through adolescence, adulthood to grandparents, how would you uh, arrange them? And so for us, it's
Hmm.
usually from left to right.
Yeah, got it.
Maybe some of us might do it from top to bottom, but usually it's like time is like left to right. And for them, I might be completely wrong, but you might go and research that. I might go again as well. They see it like from front to back,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah,
or yeah.
I have read these examples, both these examples that you narrated. Right now, I can't remember where though. In one of these books, yes. And so, um, on the same thing, like when we say past as in behind us, and the future is
Hmm.
ahead of us.
Hmm.
Uh, if I remember correctly, somewhere in Southeast Asia or somewhere around there, they would talk past as forward and up,
Even, yeah.
and uh, future as like behind.
Yeah.
So the logic being that past is something that I can see.
Hmm. And the future, you don't know about it. Yeah.
You
Right.
don't know.
That would make so much more sense, right?
Now look at that.
It would make so much more sense because like our reality is so much based on our past, more so
Yeah.
than our future, unless you start working with your creative brain and imagination in a way that you really literally start seeing your future.
Hmm.
But normally we live a reality that's past driven. We live in the
Yeah.
fears of the past and anxieties of the past and stories of the past and connections of the past. Like everything we experience now is a story of the past, right? Like when I
Yep.
got triggered by your message yesterday saying you triggered me with your post, I instantly, like, my brain shot all sorts of um synapses through my brain, going like through all of the evidence that I had in my past of moments when I spoke something that was true to me, something that I felt was a contribution to my environment and to the people, and then it got taken the wrong way, and I felt like
Yeah.
I got burnt at the stake almost, like for saying what I did. Like, how dare you? How dare you
Uh-huh.
saying something? And that was my brain, like my stories, right? But because I'm
Yeah.
training more and more, I was able to snap out of that and like, no, that's not how I choose to experience like my reality anymore. And so yeah, I tried to manipulate it. You can probably tell me
Hmm.
that you wrote it already this way and it didn't change because I was thinking. But
Yeah.
yeah, right. And quantum physics also shows that, like, that if you don't observe a thing, it's like all out, like it's just everything. It's everywhere. It's only somewhere when you actually look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that part is, it's more about uh, whether you can observe it or not. Uh,
Mm.
you know, the thing or the particle is whatever it is, wherever it is. But if you want to ascertain where is it, that is where you mess up the things. Is what my understanding of
Yeah,
that
I have very little
thing.
understanding of it so that I could explain it, but I start getting a little bit of a complicated idea around that. But yeah.
So I think it's called Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So he's the guy, or the Schrodinger's cat, as it is called.
Hmm.
The cat could be dead and alive
As
at the
long
same time.
as long as it's in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you only know whether it is when you look at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in fact, And there is a series of arguments in one of the philosophies too, which follows this part quite closely. Like it's it seems to talk almost as if you can just replace the concept or context from quantum physics to this part, and it would like fit perfectly well. So
Mm-hmm.
it goes something like it's about the perception as to what you perceive. Is it still there? Is it really there? Okay. So are you really there? Are you
Yeah.
not? Or who is it? It is the arguments about the consciousness.
And who is it?
Who's the yeah? So who's it? Is the
Yeah.
person? So it's a beautiful. In fact, have you sort of uh, come across the Advait philosophy, non-dual?
Probably not very specifically as in non-dual, but I think yes. But go ahead.
I mean, the monk that I was listening to yesterday, uh, I like that guy uh, mainly because this guy is pretty well read on different, uh, sects and philosophies, including beyond Hinduism,
Mm-hmm.
specifically Eastern traditions, and
Mm-hmm.
more specifically Buddhism and Jainism.
Okay.
And so, while he himself is a follower of uh, non-dual Vedantic philosophy, but in his discourses, he would put in the arguments as have been given by all different, you know, uh, whatever sects and religions and Buddhism or whatever. So that way. And so he's the guy who explains all these things pretty good. So non-dualism, if you uh, if you ever be interested, is that guy to that I would recommend.
Okay.
Yes. Swami Sarvapriyananda.
Did you send me a link?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
And he's a cute looking monk, and so yeah, I find him to be rather cute. So and so non-dualism or non-dualistic Advait says that the God that we call and the self, we are there is no difference between the two. And so in a way, it is you can say it is atheistic. And it doesn't say that it is just one, it says it's non-dual. So it is not two, because the argument goes that if you say that there is one, that means there has got to be more than one, otherwise the concept of one won't be there.
Okay.
The day is there because the night is there, because without the night the day won't exist, or the other one,
Mhm.
it comes, it's like a coin, it will come with the other thing. And so it says Advait, that is non-dual. So it is we, the existence, this entire thing is part of the same continuum,
Yeah.
pure consciousness that is experiencing this all. And then the entire uh, philosophy is about providing arguments into proving this. And having proven this
Mhm.
logically, you do. Now, that logical mind, the intellectual mind, has been trained or uh, made to understand that this is the real thing. But now you got to get it inside you. So for that, now there are meditations. And then this guy covers this entire history of uh, other people who have come and rebutted this concept, who
Rebooted.
are like rebutted, like they have provided argument against
Mhm.
this concept. Like there's this non-dual, there is a dualistic philosophy as well, and those guys are like stood fast in the thing that no, there is one God and there is the creation.
Mhm.
And the fun part is both these schools of thought base their arguments on the same set of texts.
Okay, just different interpretation again, right?
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, the lens that you're wearing when you read a word is like, yeah.
and this back and forth has been on like for millennia. And along comes Buddhism, along comes Jainism, and they have their own like philosophical thought and this that, which
Yeah.
this guy does really good job of like
Putting
putting
it.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm curious. Then again, what's right or wrong? At the end of the day, we all like we're here to experience this thing for us, right? And all we can do is like share our experience with others and maybe spark like something that's helpful for them. Um,
exactly.
and if it's not helpful for them what we experience, then we let them have their own experience and like take their journey in their own way. And yeah, and so for me also there's maybe we try to wrap it up after this one.
Yeah,
This idea of like raising consciousness and making the world a heavenly place, and like like everybody's come to a point where everybody is loving and caring and in high vibration and in just a state of love constantly, so there can't be
mm,
any more fighting and fear and stuff. And I find this idea nice, and there is a part of me that thinks that maybe one day this might potentially be possible, but something in me feels like this existence in these bodies on this in this realm is there's always going to be suffering, because that suffering is what we need to cut through the bullshit to get to a certain level of oneness and connectedness again.
yeah. I guess that is.
You
I
can also,
resonate with that idea as well. So that concept that people want or work for, that everybody all that lovey-dovey thing, you know, no conflict and all, is nice and naive.
and boring. Like,
Yeah,
who wants that at the end of the day also? No? Like, don't we need a little bit of electricity, a little bit of friction, a little bit of accelerated like not anxiety, excitement.
yeah. I mean, maybe, and at the same time,
Maybe not.
the yeah. I mean, the idea how it is explained, the state of blissfulness. Once you sort of uh, see what does it mean, it seems to become sort of interesting.
Again, yeah. Yeah, again, because you can still play the game of excitement and drama, but you're not involved in it. It's like it's like you
Yeah, you
there's
rightly said it.
with God behind the tree, and then you have Adam and Eve, and God,
Uh-huh.
like you have Adam and Eve on this side of the tree, then you have the big tree, and behind it, God is hiding, and he's holding one
Uh-huh.
hand the puppet of an apple, and in the other hand he's
Mhm.
holding he's holding the snake, right? He's playing both
Yeah.
parts, and
Yeah.
it's like it's just like that's just what I was thinking, because like once you reach that state of equanimity, and you know that, like, or you have that idea of non-duality, and that like it's just all one thing
Yeah.
experiencing itself, it ends up, it's like you can start just playing
Good.
with it, and you're not involved and caught up in the drama, right? Like you're playing the drama because it's fun, not because you must. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
So it's absolutely. So the drama thing is so on point. Like you're witnessing the drama. So as the drama unfolds, you feel the joy what the actors are presenting. You
Mhm.
feel their sorrow as they are presenting.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
at times you go along with them, you laugh with them, you sort of cry with them. But at the same time, you know that you know it is just a
Mhm.
movie or a drama that is on.
Mhm.
Right? Because if you just went and watched that show without any emotions whatsoever,
That's when
once
it's
again,
right. Yeah.
so this and there's one thing said from the Chinese thing. There is a little thing. Uh, Somebody asked this monk as to this guy became enlightened, and so somebody asked me, before you were enlightened, what was it that you used to do? He said, I used to go to cut wood, fetch water. And what do you do afterwards?
You're off
Cut wood, fetch
before.
water.
Exactly. It's the attitude that changes. It's the like that the element of equanimity and knowing behind the whole thing, like understanding the whole drama for what it is. That's
Yeah.
changing your enlightenment, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabian.
Again, I could
This was so
continue.
wonderful.
I think we should cut it.
No, it could continue.
And no,
Yeah.
I'm really, really grateful for you for also for you letting me know. And I would even invite you, like, next time, let me know even sooner. Like, you're more than welcome to also tell me when something triggered. Um, but I guess no, it was the right moment when
Yeah.
you said it. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did when I felt that, okay, now I have reached a place wherein I can, share that.
Yeah,
If
and
I
I
would
think
have done earlier, if I would have done it earlier, I might, I might have been vitriolic.
yeah.
I don't know. Uh, it could, it could have carried a little more. It won't have been really good, probably. I mean, I responded on the to the post itself.
Yeah, you
I guess
did.
that was enough for that much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's about it. I guess that is
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really
Thank you, Fabi.
these conversations and the times that we have for sure. And so oh wait, give me a second. If it's okay for you